Reddit. What's your anyways? We're married now story. Met a new coworker and our first interaction was me saying I don't believe you under my breath as I walked by. He thought I said I don't like you. Anyways, we're married now. That makes me laugh. I mean, who the hell actually says out loud I don't like you to a person they just met? Da fuck did I do? Friend of mine in high school who looked suspiciously similar to a friend I had in kindergarten. One day, I knew her in kindergarten and she looked a lot like you. Yay. I also knew her. And they had exactly your hairstyle. We looked deep into each other's eyes. Oh, you didn't change your hairstyle since kindergarten? Wait, now that I think about it, I have the same hairstyle. Carry on. Edit. Spelling. I have the same hairstyle. Just a little less hair. Right after our first kiss he said, "I'm not looking to get married." "Neither am I," I replied. "So anyway, we're married now." Task failed successfully. Very happy to fail at this one. His last relationship before me was one of the must get married now to fit everything into my life plan types. She married the next guy she dated. I had just gotten to a place where I was ready to date again, so I was not looking to fast track anything. Then, we fell head over heels for each other. He was definitely not afraid of commitment, but he was afraid that he would somehow lose part of himself if he got married. I was happy just dating forever, as long as I could be with him. After about 5.5 years of dating, we moved in together and agreed that we would discuss marriage after a year. He proposed 2 weeks later. It was a total surprise to me. I said yes without even looking at the ring. It was a plastic ring out of a gumball machine. The answer was still yes. He came to the door to borrow my sister's textbook. No one would answer the door, so I dragged myself out of bed and answered the door in nightgown and curlers. Hey, it was the early 80s. Okay. He told me was there to see my sister. Without a word I nodded, turned around and screamed SISSS turned back around, said family intercom system completely deadpan, and left him standing on the porch while I went back to bed. Married me anyway. 38 years on the 21st. I love this so much. Also, did you yell the word sister or your sister's name? Actually, sister's name. He told me later he just shuddered and thought Jesus, a junior sister's name. Sister isn't a very nice person. BTW. The first time I really hung out with this guy he threw up all over me. Anyways, we're married now. Wow, same though. Took my now fiance to a Chinese place that has made taste for $5. He threw up all over the bathroom of the place while I sang karaoke. I insisted he wasn't driving his car home. I walked him to my car with his pants falling off. Anyways, he threw up and got vom beans in my tape deck. And we are engaged now. I'm still mad about the tape deck, though I have a different car now. I still had so many days I couldn't play my tapes. For clarification, he had a burrito for lunch, so that's why it was straight beans in my car. He doesn't drink much anymore, ha 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 ha. When I was 13, I met a girl, Debbie, at summer camp. She talked about her horses and attending the big interstate fair every year with her 4-H group. On my 13th birthday I went to the fair and looked Debbie up. She agreed to go to the carnival with me, but wasn't all that interested. I can't blame her. 13-year-old me was a dweeb. She brought along her annoying girlfriend Reen to keep me from getting too fresh, which worked. I was determined to get Debbie alone. Not that I knew exactly why. So I took the girls on the tip-top ride. Reen got sick, got off the ride, and puked. Debbie and Reen used that as an excuse to split, and I never saw Debbie again. 3 years later, a beautiful new girl with long black hair moved out on my school bus line. I was immediately interested and began a much smoother conversation. We went out a couple weeks later and went to a carnival. She took me on the tip top and I puked. That girl was Reen. We were both 3 years older, and anyways, we are married now for 41 years. She knew she had to get you back. So, back in the 70s our families moved to a new farming town. Our church was doing a fundraiser by planting potatoes which would then be sold to help with building costs. Parents were busy and put us toddlers in a dry empty cattle watering tank/trough. Anyways, we're married 25 years now. Sounds like my grandparents' story. Grew up in a small farm town. Both their moms had babies at the same time and introduced them. Grandpa grabbed my grandma's hand and won't let go. Anyways, they were married like 60 years and just recently reunited in heaven. Oh, this is so wholesome. I had just started dating this guy, and he came over to hang out. My roommate was bitching about her coworker Pam. So I said, who names their kid Pam anyway? Duck bitch is named Pam. My date says my mom's name was Pam. His dead mom. Anyways, we're married now. This is horrible yet I'm laughing lol. My dad threw a paper airplane at the back of my mom's head in college. She told him to grow up. Anyways, they've been married now for over 36 years. I'm willing to bet he still hasn't grown up though. Well, he got the girl. He has no reason to grow up anymore. Co-worker's boyfriend's brother came up to stay with them. We have to have you out for dinner with him. You have a lot in common. He likes nerdy things too. You're not allowed to date him though. Definitely dated and married him. Co-worker and now brother-in-law broke up around the time we got engaged. He's better without her. Why would they say you're not allowed to date him? That's an old trick. As soon as you're told not to do something you instantly want to do it. I tripped and rolled down a hill, embarrassing myself in front of my girlfriend and her roommate. Anyways, the roommate and I are married now. You could say you fell for her. Badum PSSSSSHHHH. First time I met my wife was Halloween. I was sitting out a year of college working, but I went to a costume party at my old fraternity. I was pretty stupid drunk. Pretty early. Somehow I ended up in my buddy Eric's room watching TV by myself. This girl barges in the room, looks at me and says, "You're not Eric." To which I reply, "Neither are you." Turns out her roommate was hot for Eric, but too shy to go talk to him. So her roommate decided to go find him. 2 weeks later, the room barger and I got set up on a double date with Eric and the roommate. That was in 1991. Now we have 3 kids and our youngest is having our first grandkid in December. On our first date he tried showing off by drifting down a gravel road and tore through a ranch fence. Anyway, we're married now. So you married Jeremy Clarkson. Fun. Edit. Wait. He crashed. So you married Richard Hammond. Fun. No. It's me. He said on an episode of Top Gear he practiced a handbrake turn so much before his first date that when it came to it the cable snapped. Met him in high school while he was hitting on my identical twin sister. Anyways, we're married now. Does he know that he married you and not your sister? No. To this day he has no idea if they're twins. It's a long con. My great-grandparents met because my great-grandfather was delivering the newspaper to my great-grandmother's house and her brother, though he was trespassing, and tried shooting at him. My great-grandmother felt bad and bought him lunch. They were together for over 75 years and lived a very happy life. Good thing your great-great-uncle wasn't a good shot. Took him 75 years before he finally mastered the gun. My boyfriend cheated on me with a girl his roommate introduced him to. The roommate felt bad when he found out that I had not in fact been broken up with first and told me what had been going on. Anyways, we're married now. D8 years married. Second child arriving in 6 weeks. Oh shit. The roommate wanted you for himself. It's the ultimate con. I mean, it worked. I met my husband when I got a new job at a grocery store and the guy from the deli came up and yelled at me for hanging up on customers when I couldn't figure out the phone transfer process. He was that guy from the deli, and anyway, we are married now. I literally dread when anyone calls my work and asks to be transferred. I rarely do it, and I don't think I've ever done it successfully. I give them the right number first and say, "And now I'll try to transfer you. Call that number." If I accidentally hang up, pretty sure I hang up every time. This is me. I've been at my job a year and still don't know how to transfer someone because it has only come up like 5 times. I also don't know other people's numbers in the office because I never need to call them. So I just go. Let's see if this works. It has never worked. My uncle met my aunt while shitting on the side of the road drunk, while his friends laughed hysterically. She was walking somewhere that I don't remember. He then stared at her for a solid minute then passed out. She started laughing and they started dating 2 days later. Anyways, now they are married. And that, son, is why drinking is good for you. Apostrophe. She actually got him completely clean. That's one reason why he's madly in love with her. We met in elementary school. I transferred schools before high school and we lost touch. Found out we had enrolled at the same university, in the same program, once university classes started. Anyways, we're married now. QT. Shortly after we met he asked me, do you trust me? I said, laughed and said no. Anyhow, we're married now. Sounds like my story. I got a random text that said, can you keep a secret? To which I replied honestly, no. Turns out my mechanic stole my number off a service sheet which could get him fired. Anyways, we're married now. Look at you. Being true to your word and telling the entire internet. I had a cold and went on a date to an Irish pub. I was eating bangers and mash and had the urge to cough. I tried to keep my mouth shut, but just wound up spraying his face with gravy and mashed potatoes through my pursed lips. I was still coughing, so I took a sip of my drink to soothe my throat. It was beer. The bubbles tickled my throat more. I also spit that all over his face. He stared at me in disgusted horror as gravy, mashed potatoes and beer dripped down his face onto his shirt. I laughed and laughed and laughed, making my apologies sound very insincere. Anyways, we're married now. Thank goodness our booth had high backs so only he suffered. Now there. That's a story you will be sharing with your grandchildren. That was hilarious. You should try vomiting on him. Trust me, it works, grandma, not again. During college I got sexiled by my roommate Alet. She was on and off with her HS sweetheart, so I went to the common room area of the dorm to knit to kill some time. Had a pretty view of the campus. Started talking to an art student who was drawing there and ended up talking for hours and been married for 4 years together for 10. Sexiled, learned something new today. In 2nd grade, I was voted class favorite. Why was this ever a thing? Horrible idea for kids' self-esteem, along with a weird fella who I had trouble believing anyone even voted for, because he was quite reserved and bland. In the 5th grade I remember the same guy getting called to the front of the class to write his answer on the board. He was awkward and dressed accordingly. The girl seated behind me very quietly commented MMMM. His booty look like it be eaten his pants. Only I heard this, but it was a humorously accurate observation. After 5th grade I never saw him / heard from him again until we were 21. He showed up at my house to purchase a vehicle we had for sale after my dad passed exactly 1 month earlier. I only recognized him after my mom wrote his name on a receipt for purchasing the car. I reminded him of our time as class favorite and my mom made a show of breaking out the yearbooks. Anyways, we're happily married now. How's his booty? Less hungry now that we can afford properly fitting pants. Lol. So when my wife were dating she got pneumonia and didn't have health insurance. Asked her to elope to get on my insurance and 2 weeks later were married. Living in the USA can be insane sometimes. _0. Healthcare and school loans force people to do things that make people in other counties go, what? This is my parents' story, but they don't use Reddit, so it's up to me to tell. They met at a party held in the home of a married couple, of whom my mother worked with the wife on a magazine and my dad worked with the husband at the local university. While prepping for said party, my mother's friend convinced her to wear high heels, which she almost never did. A few hours into this party, the wife of the host couple steered my mother into the kitchen, where my dad was hanging out. Without warning, the host took my mother's hand, pulled it behind her, pushed it into the small of her back and said, "Sorry, but this needs to happen." Dad, meet mom. And then she shoved mom off her high heels. Mom fell. Dad caught her. And, the way my mother tells it, people from the magazine ran one way and people from the university ran in the other. Probably because they thought she would kill the host. Anyway, on their first date Dad walked into a light fixture and gave himself a black eye. They've been married for 32 years. Edit to add extra detail. If we were also lucky to have a friend who would push us off balance into our soulmate's arms. I was working at a video game shop, and he was hired to DJ the midnight release of a game I didn't care for. He comes in, waits in the giant line of people finalizing their pre-order before midnight. When he gets to the register, I ask him if he's here for the premiere, but he says he won't be caught dead playing that game, and proceeds to purchase a different, older game. I later find out he already has. He asks me when I finish my shift, and to swing by the DJ table when I'm off. I do indeed swing by, and now we've been married going on 5 years with 2 cats and a recently purchased home. He proposed by sticking the ring inside the case of the game he bought that night. Edit. Holy cannoli, I did not expect this comment to be my most popular comment ever. The midnight premiere was for Call of Duty Black Ops 2. And the game he bought was Okami, the original for Wii. I should say that I don't dislike Call of Duty overall, I was just really into the older WWI ones. This is so cute. I'm also intensely curious what was the game. Also my partner and I met through D&D, and if he doesn't somehow propose to me using D&D I will be incredibly disappointed, though probably still say yes. Close bracket. Tell your partner that I will ducking third print him a ring holder shaped like a D20. Hey, thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.